So the Book of Boba Fett is finally over. Now all these people on Twitter can finally allow me to say, I don't like this show. I don't like certain aspects of this show. I think overall the show was pretty bad. I'll give it probably a 5 out of 10, 4 out of 10, somewhere in that area. But every single time I would say that I didn't like an episode, they would be like, hey, dude, just wait until the show's over to judge the entire show. You can't judge one episode. You can't judge the entire show by one episode. I'm like, dude, I'm not judging the entire show by one episode. I'm judging it episode by episode. And most of the time, I didn't really love the episodes. Except for episode 5 and episode 6, they were both pretty good episodes. Episode 5 was probably my favorite. Episode 6 was pretty good. I just felt like there was a little bit too many member berries, a little bit too many. Look at this guy, look at this girl. You know, this person shows up, that person shows up, kind of trying to distract you from the lack of story that's being told involving the Boba Fett character in the Book of Boba Fett show. But anyway, the finale has finally aired, and apparently I am now allowed to judge the show and speak my true feelings about this show. Yeah, we'll see what excuses they come up with in the future for why I'm not supposed to be able to dislike this show. But for now, I'm able to dislike it. I'm able to actually say how I feel, and so is everyone else. Let's check out what the reactions are looking like for the Book of Boba Fett finale. Like I said, they're not looking too good. Let me move over this screen so you can see the entire headline. Well, still can't see the entire headline, but what it says is, Boba Fett finale becomes worst rated episode on Rotten Tomatoes. So the worst rated episode for the Book of Boba Fett is the finale. Now, personally, I didn't hate the finale as much as I hated some of the other episodes, like episode 3. Really, episodes 1 through 4 were just not fun for me. I just really didn't have fun watching them. Like I said, the only episodes that I really liked were episode 5 and episode 6. But the finale really wasn't one of the episodes where I was watching and there was just so many things that I hated in the episode. It was just kind of boring. I just didn't really feel any weight to anything that was happening. Certain things were happening where I was just like, where are we going with this? Why is this the way it is? Why is this man just doing a 360 before he shoots someone? There was just a lot of moments in there that it was just an embarrassment to the Star Wars name. And honestly, I do agree with the other people that I don't think Robert Rodriguez should be directing any more Star Wars. But more importantly, I don't think he should be executive producing any more Star Wars, because a lot of people, they're praising Bryce Dallas Howard and they're trashing on Robert Rodriguez, and you shouldn't be trashing on or praising anyone who's directing these episodes. If you're praising them or trashing on them because of what's happening in the episodes, the directors really don't have much say when it comes to the story of these episodes, especially when the directors are hired on individually for each episode like that. Maybe someone like Dave Filoni could change some things around in episodes that he's directing, but if Bryce Dallas Howard doesn't like a story choice that Jon Favreau made in the script, she's not going to change anything about it. You know, she doesn't have that power, and Robert Rodriguez could have that power because he is an executive producer on the show. But when people say that Robert Rodriguez should never direct another, Star Wars episode, Boba Fett, Mandalorian, whatever it is, episode, I agree with them, but not for the same reasons. I just think that he's probably not a good person to have in Star Wars. It seemed like he's trying a little bit too hard, I guess is the best way to describe it. I just think he's just not a good fit for directing, for executive producing, and it sucks because I was a Robert Rodriguez defender. I was excited to have him on. I think Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are trying to recruit other like-minded people to be able to help them out in expanding this universe at a faster rate, instead of them having to oversee every single episode, write every single script, and come up with every single show idea. I think they would like to expand out a little bit more. I think they wanted Robert Rodriguez to come in there and be another part of that team, expand that team a little bit. Hopefully they can see the same day that we're seeing, and Robert Rodriguez just wasn't a good fit. Or maybe the Book of Boba Fett show just wasn't a good fit in its own. But anyway, this show, especially the finale, is getting really poorly received, and it's honestly shocking to me. I guess it's because people had high hopes for the finale for some reason. I didn't have high hopes for the finale at all. After episode 5 and episode 6, I knew that myself internally, subconsciously, was going to have high hopes for the finale, but then I realized, we're going to go back to the Boba Fett storyline, because they're not going to end the Book of Boba Fett show without having the Boba Fett storyline wrapped up. So we're going to go ahead and go away from the exciting stuff, go away from the Din Djarin storyline, go away from the Luke Skywalker, Ahsoka, Grogu storyline, and we're going to have this episode be focused on Boba and whoever the villain was supposed to be in the show. I guess Cad Bane and the Pikes. But really didn't know until the finale who definitively the villain was going to be for this show. And we did have to go back and wrap up that storyline, just as I suspected. And I guess a lot of other people thought that maybe we would see more Luke and see more Ahsoka and see Grogu do some cool stuff. Maybe even see Grogu make the choice of if he wanted the lightsaber or the chainmail. And we didn't see any of that stuff. And it wasn't shocking to me, but I guess for a lot of other people, it probably was pretty shocking, pretty jarring, because the Book of Boba Fett finale becomes worst rated episode on Rotten Tomatoes for the show. That's shocking to me. It really is shocking. Like I said, it probably has something to do with expectations, because I don't think that this was the worst episode of the show. Definitely think that was episode 3. There was just so much stuff that happened, especially in episodes 1 through 3, where it was just really bad Star Wars. And I know that this phrase is overused so much, but it just didn't feel like Star Wars to me. It's a very overused phrase. I know. I get tired of hearing it myself. I get tired of hearing myself say it, but it's just the truth sometimes. You know, sometimes it's very hard to explain what we mean without saying that phrase whenever stuff doesn't feel like Star Wars to us. But the Book of Boba Fett season finale is an interesting situation, having been derailed by the overarching narrative established by the Mandalorian in the previous 2 episodes. Chapter 7, In the Name of Honor, had to find a way to tie everything together for the titular character, who fans had barely seen in weeks. This required the story to take a hard right to get back onto the main road with little room for error. Ultimately, the episode did as promised. It featured the war between Lord Fett and the Pikes over Mos Espa, clocking in at an hour in length, which, by the way, I really do like that. I said on a stream last night with X-Wing and a Common Idiot. If you haven't checked that out, go check it out. It's on the homepage of my channel. It was a great stream where we broke down the Book of Boba Fett, Jurassic World Dominion, all of that stuff. It was a great stream. I had a lot of fun. We do that every Thursday, by the way. It's Hot Mics. Next week will be episode 3 with me and a Common Idiot. So go check out that stream, and also tune in next Thursday for another stream. But like I said, I really do enjoy the hour-long finale stuff. When I saw that, I was very excited, because I think that every single finale for all these shows should be an hour long. I hope they keep up that trend. That's a great trend. You know, I wish all these episodes were longer, but if we just get an hour-long episode 1 and episode, you know, the finale episode, that's great too. I hope they continue that trend. But anyway, Din and Grogu's reunion, Boba and Cad Bane standoff, and the Crime Lord riding his Rancor being the standouts. However, the overall impression from fans is that there could have been much more. Another positive thing that I will say is that Cad Bane looked really good. His presence was really good on screen. I thought he was a very menacing presence, and he felt like a true villain. I wish he was around longer in the show. I wish he was around since episode 1 or 2. You know, that would have been great. It would have been great to have Cad Bane looming over this entire show, instead of him just showing up in the cameo episode where they just threw everyone at us. You know, Cad Bane had great on-screen presence, and I thought that he looked great. A lot of people had complaints about his look. Thought he looked great. Do you expect another scenario where Luke Skywalker would arrive to save the day in tear-inducing fashion? Yeah, I never thought that would happen. That would be very reminiscent of Mando Season 2. I don't think they lack creativity that much, but like I said, who knows? Who knows where the future of Star Wars is going to go? Here's the overall Rotten Tomatoes score for the show. The critic score is 81%. Audience score is 61%. Not good. Not good at all. Because if you look at, I don't have it pulled up, but The Mandalorian Season 1 and Season 2, I believe, for critic and audience, for both seasons, are all 4 over 90%. So the critic score being 81, really bad, especially for Disney, because we all know how the critics love to pump up those Disney scores. And then the audience giving it a 61. We know that they're not review bombing, so they're not even saying that. That's not even an excuse for this, because the people who normally review bomb these shows, or who they claim review bomb these shows, are supposed to be rooting for shows like this, shows that aren't directly involved with the sequel trilogy, even though we all know that all roads do lead to the sequel trilogy. You know what I mean. You know, they're not trying to directly relate this show to the sequel trilogy. They're not trying to connect it so overtly that it takes us out of the show, that it makes us feel those bad emotions from the sequel trilogy. Everyone who's rooting against the sequel trilogy want these shows to succeed. We want these shows to be successful. So if you did enjoy this video, please leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel, but also let me know what you think about the Book of Boba Fett. What do you think about not only your opinions on the actual show, but what do you think about the fan backlash? Do you think that this could actually affect Jon Favreau's job and how much pull he has at Disney? Let me know what you think in the comments. Like I said, if you did enjoy the video, please leave a like and comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I hope to see you on the next one.